Deep evening. A boy with hair as yellow as millet and azure blue eyes ran through the streets of the village of Konoha. He ran and looked around in fear, and 3 chunins ran after him. So he turned into an alley, hoping to shorten the road to home, but, alas, it was a dead end. "You have nowhere else to run, demon, now you will answer to us for everything," one of the chunin said angrily and attacked Naruto. After 15 minutes of beating, Naruto lost consciousness. The guy woke up in some kind of sewer. Great, not only was they beaten up again, but they also threw them into some kind of sewer, the blonde man said, and went to look for a way out. After an hour of wandering, the blonde man came into a room with a huge cage in the middle, on the gate of which a sheet with the kanji seal was visible. "Is there anyone here?" the boy asked into the void. There was an ominous laugh in response to him. "So my jailer has come, that the brat has come to ask for my strength?" the voice asked. "No, why do I need it, especially since it's your power and it's up to you to decide where to put it. Let's talk better, since I got here," the blonde replied. Kyubi was taken aback by the boy's suggestion, but said, "Well, let's talk. Tell me your name, for example." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," the blonde introduced himself. "I'm a 9-tailed fox demon. Kyubi no Yoko." The fox introduced himself and appeared out of the darkness. "So you are the Kyubi who attacked the village 7 years ago?" The boy was amazed. "But do you have a name? After all, Kyubi is a nickname, am I right?" "Yes, you're right, but I won't tell you my name," the fox replied. "Why?" the boy asked. "I don't trust you," the fox replied. "Okay, then tell me, where are we?" the boy asked. "In your subconscious," the fox replied. "That is, I am your Jinchuriki." The guy was amazed. "So that's why everyone hates me?" "Yes, Naruto," the fox replied. "It's an honor for me to be your Jinchuriki." The boy bowed, and then asked a question. "Kyubi-san, can I ask you to train me, because you don't need a weak Jinchuriki?" "All right." "You're right, I don't need a weak Jinchuriki," the fox replied. "Really? Thank you." The guy was delighted. "That's it, now get out of here," said the fox and threw the boy out of his subconscious. Naruto woke up already in the hospital room, got up, ran out the window and went to an abandoned landfill, where he contacted the fox. "Kyubi-san, what should I do?" the guy asked. "To start, run 25 laps around the polygon, then do exercises to strengthen the press 25 repetitions, push-ups 25 times, squats about 30, after 5 minutes of rest and repeat the exercises," said the fox. The boy was slightly surprised by the task, but kept silent, because it was for his own good, and began to perform exercises. In such exercises, 6 months have passed. The number of repetitions has risen to 70 laps, 80 for the press, 89 push-ups, about 100 squats. I also began to wear weights in order to increase the speed, the weight of which is about 15 kilograms on my arms and legs. And now Naruto returns home after another workout, as he was caught again and began to be beaten because of fatigue. The blonde could not do anything. After several blows to the face, Kyubi connected by giving the blonde a drop of his chakra, from which the blonde was enveloped by an orange wave from the chakra, which threw the attackers in different directions. The blonde's face was distorted by anger, and his eyes acquired a vertical pupil. The iris turned blood red. "This is the power, Kyubi-san, is it yours?" Naruto asked mentally when Kyubi stopped the flow of chakra. "Yes. And this is just a crumb of all my strength. And now I advise you to hurry away from here." Since the surge of my chakra lovingly prevailed Umbu's attention, the blonde nodded at this and went home at an accelerated pace. The next day Naruto went to his training ground. "Kyubi-san, what am I going to do today?" the blonde man asked mentally. "Well, to begin with, a warm-up, and then we will begin to master the control of the chakra," the fox replied. So a month passed in chakra control training. During this month Naruto learned to walk on vertical surfaces and water, and also mastered basic techniques such as henge, replacement, and instead of illusory shadow cloning, he also raised the level of taijutsu and shuriken jutsu. And now the blonde, tired after a hard day, goes home, but he was caught and beaten again. After that, he somehow got home. The next day, Naruto was called to the Hokage's office, where he was informed that he would enter the academy in a week and that he would go there. A week later, Naruto went to the academy, where all the students and their parents had already gathered. The third began to broadcast his propaganda about the will of fire, which the blonde ignored. After they were assigned to classes and began to get acquainted, the blonde man entered his classroom and sat down at the most remote desk, after which Iruka entered and began his monologue. "Hello everyone, my name is Iruka Umino. For you I am Iruka-sensei. I love ramen. I hate traitors. My dream is to become the director of the academy, and now I will call everyone, and you will also introduce yourself." So it goes to the blackboard. Uzumaki did not listen further until his turn came. "Naruto Uzumaki," Iruka said with disgust, after which, under the hateful glances, the blonde man went to the blackboard. "Naruto Uzumaki, I love nothing, I hate everything, I won't say dreams and goals, because it's personal," said Naruto, and under the dissatisfied and arrogant glances of the students went to his place. Okay, I'm waiting for you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for today," Iruka said, then dismissed the class to their homes. Naruto went to an abandoned landfill, where he contacted the fox. "Listen Kyubi, can you tell me your name? It's just inconvenient to call you by your nickname all the time, and it's probably unpleasant for you, too," the blonde asked. "Okay, my name is Kurama," said the fox. "Kurama means a very beautiful name. Listen, maybe I should leave the list for a while, for further training, at the same time I'll earn some money and gain experience." "It's not a bad idea, but how about they don't let you out of the village? I will create a clone, which I will nourish with my own and strengthen with yours, which will give him the opportunity not to dissipate for a long time. What do you say?" the guy asked. "It's not a bad idea, let's try it," said the fox. After training in taijutsu and improving the clone, which he did in the evening, the blonde went home. That same night, the blonde created an enhanced clone, with a task to study and to ensure that he did not show his abilities, but played the fool, safely left the sheet with a backpack full of copies of various techniques and provisions. Deep evening, on one of the stone strands of the bust of the head of the fourth Hokage stood a blonde guy about 13 years old in appearance. He was wearing a red leather coat with a collar and sleeves decorated with crow feathers. He had long, unruly hair, and on his face was a dark gray-red mask covering the upper part of his face and completely the left cheek, and the right was decorated with 3 stripes on his cheeks in the form of a fox mustache. He was wearing a metallic-colored vest under his raincoat, and he was wearing fingerless tactical gloves on his hands. There were also black shinobi pants and boots with a metal toe, and bandages were wound on his right arm. A scabbard with 3-edged claws hung on his belt on the sides. "I've already forgotten what this village looks like," the guy said in a hoarse voice, thanks to the print editing his voice to a rougher one, located on the mask, with a voice. "Well, it's enough to admire it, and it's time to go home." After this phrase, the blonde jumped down from the chip and with the grace of a cat, and landed on the ground with the same noiselessness and went home. When he came home, he was horrified by his condition. The house was terribly dirty and not tidy, it looks like. The clone really got used to the role of a fool. The guy smiled and took off his raincoat and outerwear, and mask, and then went to the bed and lay down, and then scattered the clone, after which a lot of information fell on him. "So my clone found friends, and tomorrow the genin exam is okay. It's time to rest." The next morning, Naruto woke up at 6 a.m. and went to the bathroom, where he performed morning procedures and went to breakfast. After eating instant ramen, in other words, a kind of doshirak, because there was no other, he began to get dressed. After putting on the clothes in which he returned to the village, he took a mask and put it on, fastening it on the temples, went to the academy. When he came to the academy, he immediately attracted attention with his appearance. Under the bewildered eyes of the students, he went to an empty seat near the window and sat down at it. Then a blonde with bangs on her right eye came up to him. /a canonical Ino. I haven't seen you before. Are you new? She asked. Old Ino, I've been studying Swami for 5 years now, the blonde man said in a gruff voice and added, I'm Naruto. After that, Irika came and started checking those present. Naruto Uzumaki, Irika said and ran his eyes over. There is no, he began, but was interrupted. I'm Irika-sensei here, the masked man said. Well, since everyone is here, then we will proceed to the delivery, Irika said and handed out the tasks. First you have a written part, you are given an hour to complete it. After a glance, Naruto wrote the test in 5 minutes. After sitting for another 10 minutes, Naruto raised his hand. No Naruto, I won't suggest it, Irika said. Yes, I don't need it, I wanted to hand over the work. With this phrase, Naruto shocked everyone present. Well, let's check it out, Irika said and took the job. During the check, Irika's eyes widened. Well done Naruto, all the answers are correct. Finally, you've come to your senses. An hour later, everyone was taken to the training ground, so, there will be an exam practice here. Now you will take the kunai throwing, you will be given 10 kunai and shurikens. Your task will be to get to the center of the target. In order to pass you need to get at least 5 times, explained Irika and then began to call. The results were as follows: 1 kunai, 2 shurikens, Kiba 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, Sakura on both 7 out of 10, Choji on both 6 out of 10, Shikamaru 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, Ino 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, Hinata 8/10, 9 out of 10, Sasuke 9/10, 9 out of 10. Naruto Uzumaki, Irika called him when Naruto came out. He took 5 shurikens in each hand and threw all 10, then he jumped up and sharply threw shurikens at them, and after him senbons from his pouch, resulting in 10 out of 10, N out of 10, 10 out of 10, senbons. Everyone was shocked for the second time. Choji even dropped chips from his result, and Sasuke was bombed, because Naruto threw the same way as Itachi. Well, this is the best result of the academy, it looks like you really took up the mind, praised Irika and continued, so now there will be sparring, and then you will go to room 118, where the last stage of the exam will be. So, the first pair, the results were as follows: Sakura vs Ino, defeated Ino, Choji vs Kiba, defeated Kiba, Hinata vs Shikamaru, Shika surrendered. And the last pair of Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha, Irika said, well, is Uzumaki ready to lose? Uchiha asked haughtily. Naruto, arrange a show, otherwise I'm bored, said the fox in the blonde's head. Okay, you can even look through my eye, Naruto mentally said and turned on the hiding seal on his right eye. Here we go, Irika said and jumped back. After his words, the brunette abruptly ran at the blonde, but the latter just stood. As soon as about a meter remained to the blonde, the brunette decided to strike a direct blow, but then Sasuke abruptly flies away, and Naruto lowered his leg. Is that all? I expected more from the Uchiha heir. Naruto began to scoff. Sasuke got angry at his words and charged again, but all his attacks were blocked. I'm bored, Sasuke, is that all you're capable of? The blonde man scoffed. This enraged the brunette to the edge, and he rushed at the blonde with blind rage, but he just dodged and that's it. But he got bored with it and he started his series of attacks, from which Sasuke somehow dodged, but missed a lot of blows. When the blonde realized that it was time to finish, he sharply kicked him in the chin, from which he flew up a good 5 meters, followed by the blonde, and shouted Uzumaki combo. After his words, he began to strike a lot of blows at high speed, and completed this combination with a kick to the stomach, which under the weight of the weights was equal to 3 rakeage blows. After all, the weight of the weights is equal to 3 tons each, as a result of which they were replaced with resistance seals, from which Uchiha crashed into the ground with great speed and left a crater measuring 2 by 2 meters. Iruka ran to Uchiha and checked his condition. After he made sure that he was alive, he was taken to the hospital, and then they continued the exam. After the last test, all the canonical ones became genins, including Naruto. When Naruto got his armband, he tied it on his left arm. Sasuke was unable to pass the last stage due to injuries, so he was given a second chance, and after successful completion, the distribution of teams began. So, class. Now I will voice the commands, which consist of 3 genins and 1 jonin. So, team number 1, then the young Uzumaki did not listen, but talked with Kurama until he heard his name. Team 7 consists of Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke, your mentor Hatake Kakashi. After all the teams dispersed, only team number 7 remained in the office. Everyone was going about their business, namely Sasuke was looking out the window and occasionally throwing destructive glances at Naruto. Sakura was sitting at her desk, and Naruto was reading a book until he was distracted by a female voice. "Where is our sensei?" Sakura was furious. "I don't know," the blonde man replied and continued reading. 2 hours passed and the door began to open. The first thing Kakashi saw was a swarm of metal in the form of kunai, senbons and shurikens flying at him. He dodged half of it, and the second hit next to his head, hands, and dignity. "Why the hell did you make us wait for you for more than 2 hours, Kakashi?" The blonde man was furious. "I don't like your first impression," Kakashi said, ignoring the question. "First impression of you," the blonde mimicked him, "I don't like you. Go up to the roof, otherwise it's stuffy here," Kakashi said and disappeared into the smoke. After that, 2 of the genins went to the roof, and the third jumped out of the window and walked along the wall. What was the surprise of Uchiha and Haruno when they got up and saw something reading blonde and ash-haired. "How did he get up here so quickly? He didn't follow us," flashed through the mind of Uchiha and Haruno. "So, since everyone has gathered, let's get acquainted," the ash-haired man began. "And give us an example," the pink-haired one asked. "My name is Kakashi Hatake. What I love or don't love, I won't tell you. Dreams and goals don't concern you." "It's your turn," Kakashi said and pointed at Sakura. "He didn't tell us anything," Sakura thought. "My name is Sakura Haruno. That I love, or rather who, look at Uchiha, dream, look at Uchiha again and squeal. It's clear, who don't you like?" Hatake asked. "Naruto," the pink-haired one said at once. "It's clear now you're a brunette," Kakashi said. "My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are few things I like and many things I don't like. There is no dream, but there is a goal, to kill one person," Uchiha introduced himself. "Okay, now you're blonde," Kakashi said. Naruto, who had not looked up from the book until the village, said, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I love nothing, I hate everything. You don't have to know your dreams and goals." "So what we have," Kakashi reasoned mentally, "is a fool in love with Uchiha, an avenger from Uchiha, and a secretive guy with a strange mask, who doesn't seem to care about everything that's going on right now. We'll have to follow him. Okay, let's try to make a team out of them." Horosho tomorrow at 5 at the 7th training ground we will conduct a survival test, and I advise you not to eat, otherwise you will be sick. For now, Kakashi said and disappeared into Shunshin. Naruto put the book in his pouch and, going to the edge of the roof, jumped from it. His teammates, shocked by his antics, ran to the edge to see how Uzumaki landed on the ground with the grace of a cat and, taking out the book, went in a direction only known to him. Arriving at the training ground, the blonde warmed up and began to train. In the late afternoon, Naruto stopped his training and headed to the faces of the Hokage, where he climbed onto a lock of the 4th and just enjoyed the sunset, and then headed home, where he ate and sat down at the table, a chemist with explosive tags. Closer to midnight, he took a shower and went to bed. On behalf of Kakashi, immediately after my announcement of the test, I moved Shunshin to the tree and began to watch Naruto. Here he gets up and goes to the end of the roof, after which he jumped off, just fucking jumped off the roof of a 3-story building. And with the grace of a cat, he landed on the ground. after which he took out his book about Fuin and set off in a direction only known to him. After following him, I discovered that he had come to one of the abandoned polygons, where he created shadow clones and began practicing taijutsu and fighting with paired three-bladed claws. At the end of the day, he finished training and went to Mount Hokage, where he climbed onto a stone lock of Sensei's hair and just stood and admired the sunset, after which he jumped off again and landed with the same grace of a cat and went home. That I couldn't see what he was doing in the house, even with the help of a Sharingan, because of the weights and the hike. They are all stuffed across with concealing barriers, and judging by the fact that, no matter how hard I tried, I didn't see anything. Quite high quality, a strange guy. The end of Kakashi's thoughts. The next day, Naruto woke up at 6, washed up, had breakfast and started blasting tags, and closer to 8 he put on a mask, sealed the explosion tags in a storage seal on his hand, put on a raincoat and went to the landfill. 8:30 There were two sleepy genins sitting at landfill number 7. Then they see a guy in a dark gray mask with red inserts and a red leather raincoat with a collar and sleeves decorated with crow feathers coming into the landfill. "You're late," Sensei said to come at 5 o'clock, "and where have you been all this time?" Sakura exploded. To which Naruto ignored her, to which Sakura became even more enraged. "How dare you ignore me, loser!" Sakura raised her fist to strike, but her hand was intercepted by a blonde and squeezed in a steel grip. "I'm a loser." Naruto was furious. "Naruto, calm down," the fox roared, but the blonde did not listen to him. "What's going on here?" Kakashi asked. "You have everything: a house where you are loved, parents, family, friends. You look at everything through your rose-colored glasses. Do you have any idea what it's like to live in fear for your life when they want to kill you in your own house? What is it like to live and be afraid? What is it like to survive? What is it like to live without knowing why you have such an attitude? What is it like to be a lonely outcast? Hell, I don't even know who my parents are. So don't you dare call me a loser. When you don't know anything about the person you call that." At this moment, Naruto was openly crying from under the mask. He let go of Sakura's hand, and she collapsed to the ground and began to sob. Kakashi was in shock. "You'd think you'd know." Sasuke got in. Kurama was already burying Uchiha at this time. "Unlike you, Uchiha, I know what it is. The fact that your brother cut out your clan does not make you an outcast. The whole academy wants to make friends with you and treats you positively, so you don't know what hatred is, and what it is to be an outcast." Naruto was already furious with a red iris and a vertical pupil in his eyes, because of the fox's chakra. "Naruto, enough!" Kakashi ordered, feeling that it wouldn't end well. Then silence reigned for half an hour. "Let's move on to your training," the blonde man said when Sakura calmed down. "Your task will be to take away these 2 bells from me," Kakashi said. "But there are only 2 of them," Sakura said excitedly. "That's right, one of you won't pass anyway. You have until noon to take them away, and now we've started," Kakashi commanded, and everyone hid. Uzumaki himself created clones and sent them to his teammates. 5 minutes later, Naruto appeared in the clearing. "Are you going to attack alone?" Kakashi asked. "The test has already failed," the blonde man calmly replied, lying down under a tree. "What makes you think that?" Kakashi asked. "This is a test for teamwork, and my teammates refuse to work together, so I don't see any point in further actions," Naruto said, continuing to lie down. "You do realize that I might attack you, don't you?" Hatake asked. "You do realize that I'm always ready, don't you?" Uzumaki mimicked him. The conversation was not destined to continue further, because Sasuke jumped out into the clearing and unleashed a fight in taijutsu, where after 5 minutes of the fight he was buried up to his ears in the ground, and Sakura just died from genjutsu, and then there will be a fight, so I advise you to turn on the song, Naruto OST, The Raising Fighting Spirit, which you can find it in my playlist on my VK page. Well, I think now it's my turn to show an aspect of my abilities, the blonde said and rushed to Kakashi in taijutsu, where they were equal, but with a slight dominance of the blonde in the cape, and a smile played on his face. After 15 minutes, Kakashi broke the distance and folded the seals and shouted, "Kato, fireball." A fireball flew at Naruto. Naruto folded his seals on it and shouted, "Suiton, the water wall," but his seals did not end there. Typing seals and pulling claws out of their scabbards, he exclaimed, "Futon, double beast wave." Waving his arms, he sent 2 scarlet waves from the wind chakra crisscross on Kakashi. Kakashi dodged and, folding the seals, shouted, "Suiton, a water bullet." Naruto dodged and, having soaked his claws with wind chakra, rushed at Kakashi at high speed. The latter was shocked by such speed from Genin, who had just graduated from the academy yesterday. Trying to block the claws with kunai, he was forced to abruptly break the distance, because while Kakashi was blocking one hand, the blonde was already striking the second. His level of training is much higher than that of Genin. Perhaps even Chunin, but where did he train so? At the academy he behaved like a fool. Did he hide his capabilities? Kakashi mused, blocking the next blow of the blonde's claws. Hell, he uses his weapons as if he had been fighting with them for years. Sasuke and Sakura only watched in amazement the fight of his teammate and mentor and could not believe that they were so weak. The fight continued until the alarm bell rang. "Time's up, you all failed because you didn't take the bells away from me," Kakashi said, breathing heavily. "I don't think so, Kakashi-san," Naruto said, showing him the bells, while Hatake himself, amazed, checked the belt where the bells were hanging to detect their absence. "When are you?" Hatake said in amazement. "Back at the beginning of the taijutsu fight." The blonde man said, "I see, and who are you going to give one bell to?" "I'll give one to you, and the second one to you, too, because the test is still failed," Naruto said, throwing Kakashi bells. Sakura was tied to a tree. "You're right, the purpose of this test was teamwork. I didn't see it here," Kakashi said. "That's right," Sakura caught herself. "After all, Naruto offered us teamwork from the very beginning, but we didn't listen to him." "Okay, I'll give you a second chance, but before that, eat, but don't feed Sakura. This is an order. Whoever violates it, go back to the academy, and I'll go to one place for now," Kakashi said and disappeared into Shunshin. "Take it, eat it," Naruto said and handed Sakura a rice ball. No, I'm not hungry," Sakura said, but her stomach gave her away, which made her blush even more. "Eat, come on, I'm not hungry," Naruto said and continued to feed Sakura. Then Kakashi appeared. "I told you not to feed her. You disobeyed. Do you even know what happens for this?" Kakashi spoke menacingly. "She is one of the members of our squad. To throw her into trouble means to stop being a person," the blonde said calmly, untying Sakura, and thought to himself, "She, not Sakura, would not have left me." After which he became sad. "Thanks to Naruto, you passed." In the shinobi world, those who do not follow orders are garbage, but those who leave their comrades in trouble are much worse. "So since tomorrow we have been carrying out missions," Kakashi said, and everyone dispersed. After leaving the training ground, Naruto in a terrible mood went to Mount Hokage, where he climbed on one of the faces of the Hokage and took off his mask. His left side was scarred. A scar from a deep vertical cut stretched from the eyebrow to the cheek. There was a scar from a torn wound on the left cheek, and a burn covering the eye and cheek complemented the whole picture. His left eye was light gray in color and was as if in a veil. Sitting down on one of the curls, he began to cry softly, almost inaudibly. "Don't cry, Fox, I'll always be with you," a female voice echoed, and the wind blew, developing the guy's hair. "Good," the guy said and began to calm down. Calming down, he put on his mask. He jumped off the faces of the previous Hokage and went home. A month has passed. During this month, Team 7 completed a large number of D-rank missions. Well, as they did, 2 Genins and a blonde clone performed. The relationship with the teammate did not progress from the word at all. Deep evening in a small apartment, a guy stood at the mirror and looked at his reflection, and held a mask in his hand. His left side was scarred. A scar from a deep vertical cut stretched from the eyebrow to the cheek, there was a scar from a torn wound on the left cheek, and a burn covering the eye and cheek complemented the whole picture. Also on his left shoulder there was a tattoo in the form of a fox, against whose head a viper leans, and the fox's tail covers it. Suddenly, he abruptly hits the mirror with all his might, from which the latter breaks, and blood flows from his fist. Calming down, he went to bed. 2 years ago, I'm sorry, Fox. You were a good partner and friend. Spitting blood, said a girl of about 11 with black eyes and beautiful brown hair. She was wearing a t-shirt in the stomach area of which blood was flowing due to a wound inflicted by Tonto Umbu. She was wearing black tight shinobi pants, black shinobi sandals. A broken Umbu mask lay next to her. No, Viper, please don't die. No, hold on now, I'll come up with something, you just hold on. A 12-year-old guy with wheat yellow hair and a blue right eye was talking and fussing in tears, while the left eye was white and there was a vertical cut from the eyebrow to the cheek, and the cheek itself was decorated with a fresh laceration and a severe burn. No Naru, there's no help for me, I've lost too much blood. So do my last request, live on. The brunette said and her eyes closed. Our time. Sarah, no. Naruto muttered in his sleep, Sarah. No. Sarah. No. Don't die. Sarah. No. The blonde man roared to the whole neighborhood and abruptly wakes up in a cold sweat. Just a dream. Just one of those stupid horrible dreams. The guy grumbled, when suddenly someone knocks on his door. Approaching the door, holding the three-bladed claws in preparation, he asked, Who's there? It's me Sakura, now, the blonde man said and went to get the mask. Putting it on, he opened the door a crack, only so that half of his face in the mask could be seen. What did you want? The blonde man asked. Kakashi-sensei is calling us to the residence, the girl said. Now, the guy said and went to put on his equipment, namely a t-shirt, a metallic-colored vest, black shinobi pants, a belt of long red fabric wrapped around his waist, bandages on his right hand, fingerless gloves and bracers, boots with a metal toe and a hori-ata tied on his right hand. After dressing, he and Sakura I went to the residence. The whole road passed in silence. Arriving at the residence, they waited for the remaining team members and headed to the Hokage. Hokage, the 7th team itself has arrived on your order, Kakashi reported. You are given an excellent mission of rank C. The task of the mission is to escort the bridge builder to the land of waves and further protect him during construction. Said the 3rd, and then added, bring Tazuna. After 15 minutes, an old man in a straw hat and cheap sake in his hands entered the office. He smelled of fumes, but almost no one paid attention to it, except Naruto, who, thanks to training with a fox, developed all his senses to the level of foxes. And these children will protect me? Yes, they themselves need protection, especially the blonde in the mask. Is he a shinobi at all? Kakashi-san, if he continues, I'm afraid the task may fail before it starts, Naruto said. This is the strongest genin team, especially since Mentor Jonin will go, plus this is a C rank mission, Hokage said. Okay, we'll meet at the main gate in an hour, said Tazuna and headed for the exit. When Naruto got home, he took the scrolls with provisions and equipment and went to the gate. When he got there, he saw his team and Tazuna, who smelled of alcohol. Naruto, where are your things? If you hope that we will share with you, then you did not guess, Sakura said. Naruto ignored her, muttering something about the bad mood of his partner's short-sightedness and the habits of the employer and sensei. When he reached the gate, he leaned on it and waited for sensei. Well, since everyone's gathered, we're exhausted. Naruto, where are your things? Kakashi asked, To which the blonde man silently took out a scroll and after a nod put it in his pouch. Team 7 had been walking for an hour to the land of waves when they suddenly noticed a puddle. Although it had not rained for about 2 weeks, Naruto looked at Kakashi, who realized that it was a trap. Naruto decided to do nothing and see what Kakashi was up to. After walking a couple more meters, 2 Nukanons jumped out of the puddle and cut Kakashi in half. "One is ready," Gozu said and saw Naruto. "Damn Meizu, let's run here, Wind Demon. Stand still," Naruto ordered, releasing a huge amount of ki, from which a huge wave of wind rushed from his side, from which the demon brothers fell in fear, and the team of Genins and Tazuna lost consciousness. "Have mercy," the brothers shouted, looking at the blonde. "Spare me," Naruto asked in a sepulchral voice. "Tell me who hired you and then I'll think about it." "Gato," Mazu shouted. "Why?" The blonde man continued the interrogation, letting out his ki. "You kill the bridge builder," Gozu shouted in fear. "Great, I've learned everything I need to know," Naruto said and pressed on them ki Kurama, from which the demon brothers passed out. After tying them up, he turned around to see his team lying unconscious and Kakashi looking at him with eyes full of questions. "I'm waiting for an explanation," Kakashi said menacingly. "What do you mean? Why do they call you a wind demon?" "No way, but they call me a wind demon because of the strong wind techniques, and in general, what kind of person should I report to you? Demand your explanations from the client." "What the fuck is Gato chasing him for?" Naruto went berserk. "At least because I am your mentor and senior in rank." Kakashi was furious. "Go to Biju. For all the time I had only one mentor." Naruto was furious and headed forward. "Where are you going?" Kakashi was furious. "Go to Biju," Naruto said and walked forward. Kakashi was still shouting something after him but the blonde man just ignored him. "Yes, Naruto hasn't bombed you like that for a long time, it seems the last time she died," Kurama said. "No, then it's stronger," Naruto said, looking sad. "What are you going to do now?" the fox asked. "Finish the mission, sneak into her father's house, pick up the scrolls from there, find the ambushnik who killed her, and kill him," Naruto said. After 30 minutes, the team caught up with him, as he was walking slowly, and only now his teammates noticed the tattoo on the blonde's forearm. "Naruto," Sakura called him. "What do you want?" the blonde man asked, turning slightly. "What is that mark on your hand?" Sakura asked, to which Sasuke nodded, and Kakashi stared at him with a look of incomprehension. There was a 5-minute silence during which Naruto pondered everything. "This is a symbol of my best friend," Naruto began sadly. "The fox means that you are cunning and clever, and the snake is quirky, cunning and clever. Initially I only had a fox, but after I met her everything changed. I put this snake after one tragedy, or rather it appeared on its own. In fact, this is not a tattoo, but a seal where I keep things that are too valuable for me, and no one will print them from this seal except me," the blonde explained and lowered his head, did not say another word. "Who is she and where did you meet her?" Tazuna asked. "This is a painful topic for me, so I do not intend to continue the conversation on this topic. I will say only one thing, the one who did this to her will deeply regret it, an instrument of revenge will fall on him, eye for eye, blood for blood, life for life." The blonde began sadly and finished evil and all. I felt uneasy. The rest of the way passed in silence. Kakashi threw suspicious glances at the blonde, but remained silent. When they reached a friend of Tazuna, who ferried them to the other side, they continued on their way. After an hour of traveling, Naruto shouted, "Lie down," and pulled Sakura, who did not have time to react, to the ground. "Momochi Zabuza is a demon of the blood mist," Kakashi said. "He's no match for you all the way back. Maybe I'll have to use him." With these words, Kakashi raised the protector, revealing his Sharingan. So who is it we have here?" Copying Ninja Sharingan Kakashi, the kids from Konoha, the bridge builder and Naruto Uzumaki himself, as light as the fox of the wind or the demon of the wind, have not seen each other for a long time, said the swordsman. Zabuza Momochi is one of the 7 mist swordsmen. A powerful user of the Suiton, the owner of the Kubokiribocho, the master of silent murders, did not expect to see you here, Naruto replied. Silence reigned, during which the blonde and Zabuza glared at each other, and all this was watched by the incomprehensible genins, Tazuna and Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, what are they doing and why did he call Naruto a wind demon? Sakura asked, not understanding anything. I have no idea, Kakashi replied. Ha ha ha, I see you haven't told them anything about yourself, it's your style. I called him that, because that's how he became famous all over the world, shinobi, and they called him that, for his talent in the element of wind. Literally any technique of the element of wind in his performance will be very powerful, and the fox for his cunning, explained Zabuza and continued to drill the blonde with his gaze. After another 15 minutes, only Kenjutsu and Taijutsu, the blonde man said. Only Kenjutsu and Taijutsu, Zabuza repeated, after which Naruto took out his claws and prepared for battle. After 5 minutes of the staring game, the blonde rushed to Zabuza. Their fight was more like a dance, each blow of Zabuza was reflected, as well as the blow of the blonde, and then an hour later they finished. Both had wounds. GG, ha 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 ha. There was a laugh from Bolindine and Zabuza supported him. And you improved your claws. It was difficult for me to reflect your blows, and the speed also increased. Do you still wear weights? Zabuza asked and got up, then gave his hand to the blonde. You haven't lost your grip either. No, they are not comfortable and there are no such weights that I wear thanks to the seals of resistance, the blonde man said, and accepted help. And what is the weight now? The swordsman asked. About 3 tons, the blonde man replied, which shocked his teammates. It's more than the student guy. Flashed through Kakashi's mind. Yeah, Zabuza said. So Gato hired you, too? The blonde man asked. Yes, but he doesn't suspect who we've met, Zabuza said. At the end of the conversation, Naruto put together a couple of characters that were understandable only to Zabuza, Naruto and Haku, who was watching them. Well, come then, Zabuza said and folded the symbols again. Understood, said Naruto, and Zabuza disappeared into Shunshin. Naruto, what was that just now? Why did you let him go? Uchiha asked. Naruto ignored him and went on, but realizing that his teammates were standing, he turned around and asked, are you coming? The blonde man asked. 3 years ago 4 RO people accompanied a merchant's detachment from one of the numerous villages. These 4 were called Momochi Zabuza, also known as the Demon of the Blood Mist, Haku Yuki, P/A I have a Haku girl, also known as the Lady of Ice, Saraka Haku, also known as the Fire Viper or the Demon of Fire, and Uzumaki Naruto, also known as the Fox of the Wind or the Demon of the Wind. Half an hour later, they were attacked by a band of robbers consisting of 20 people. We divide in half, said a blonde man in a mask hiding the lower part of his face, and together with a girl with brown hair and black eyes in a mask covering the lower part of his face, he rushed to the squad. During the battle, one of the robbers inflicted a deep wound on Uzumaki's left eye. Oh, shit! Uzumaki shouted, holding his eye and releasing the fox's chakra to stop the blood. The viper needs fire. Got it. The girl shouted and began a set of seals. In turn, the blonde man adjusted his own viper/fox, Kato, fire hurricane. Both shouted and a huge hurricane of fire, fueled by the wind, rushed at the enemies, from which they could not dodge. How are you, Fox? The brunette asked excitedly, looking at his left eye of the guy. I will live, the guy answered, taking out a bandage and bandaging the left side. Let's go, let's help Zabuza. If he needs her, the girl replied jokingly, smiling. Our time. Kakashi's team had dinner at Tazuna's house, and talked about training. So I think Kakashi-san you need to train them, Naruto finished. Why do you need to train if Gato will kill you all anyway? You live with your parents and haven't seen your whole life. Inari began to be indignant. You don't know what it's like to lose relatives. We don't know life, you say. Naruto was furious. The fox in Naruto's head was preparing for the worst. Yes, do you even know what I went through when I was 6? I was beaten many times in my own village. Do you know what lies behind this mask? The blonde man flared up. 2 years ago I lost the only person I loved and brought up, a person who saw in me a person, not a demon. Who am I crucifying myself to? You have everything. A mother who loves you. A grandfather who will protect. The blonde man exploded and headed for the exit. Where are you going? Kakashi asked, but was ignored. Wait, who was told, go to Biju? Naruto said angrily and, releasing all his ki, left, slamming the door so that it almost flew off its hinges. You don't like them much? Kurama asked. It's your own fault. I haven't seen life. No, well, did you hear? That's what I've never seen in my life. Naruto said, following the coordinates Zabuza had given him. Arriving at the tree house, he knocked on it. Zabuza opened it for him. Naruto? Zabuza was surprised at the guest. I'm sorry for Zabuza's late visit, but I can't stay there, Naruto said nervously, taking off his mask. Yes, of course, come in, Zabuza said and let the blonde through. Thank you, Naruto said and entered. Hello Naruto, hugged him in a friendly way. Haku, glad to see you. Hello Haku, and you've become prettier, the blonde man noticed and smiled. And you've acquired new scars, Haku remarked sadly. Yes, Naruto replied sadly, then they continued in the kitchen for tea. So what happened? Zabuza asked. Zabuza, can you imagine, they told me that I had never seen my life, so not anyone, but his mother is a little kid about 6 years old. I wouldn't have understood if you and Haku or at least Kakashi had said it, but no, it's not. His mother tells me, his boy, who still has milk on his lips and has a mother and grandfather. Naruto exploded. Yeah, at least you didn't kill him. And then after her death, the light that was in you died out? The girl noticed. Thank Kami no, I left in time, otherwise there would have been terrible consequences. The blonde man replied while drinking tea. Yes, it's a pity for her, you shouldn't have, after all, then you went yourself, Zabuza said. You're right, maybe then we would be sitting with the whole squad now, Naruto sadly remarked. Zabuza listen, you can spend the night with you, otherwise I have absolutely no desire to go back there. Of course, you're always welcome, Zabuza said. Thank you. After talking for some more time, they went to their rooms. Meanwhile, at Tazuna's house. After Naruto left, his ki subsided and everyone exhaled. I'll go find him, otherwise in this state you can expect anything from him, Kakashi said and rushed to the exit. Is your friend always like this? Tsunami asked. Since graduation from the academy, Sakura replied. Before that he was a fool, but already during the exam I noticed changes as if someone had replaced him. If he still talked to anyone at the academy, it was after graduation. He spoke purely on business, and when you ask him something about his past, he answers, like, it's none of your business, I don't intend to tell anything, or, I don't intend to answer Konoha Shinobi, and if he answered, then in his eyes you could see only pain, longing and hatred. But he's a shinobi himself, Tazuna wondered. Meanwhile at Kakashi's, Kakashi has been walking through the forest for more than an hour, but still hasn't found the blonde. Damn, how can a genin disappear so easily that even an elite jonin can't find him? Kakashi was perplexed. The devil has more questions than answers. After wandering for another hour, Kakashi returned to the house. He constantly mentions some girl, but never says her name. Who is she? Tazuna asked. Sakura thought about it. Before assigning us a mission to protect you, Sakura Kakashi-sensei began, he asked me to come for him, and when I came, I heard him say in a dream, Sarah. No, Sarah. No, no, no. Sarah. No. Don't die. Sarah. Nui. Apparently, this is the girl he is talking about, but I do not know who she is. Maybe Sensei knows something. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about her, Kakashi said as he entered the house. Kakashi-sensei, did you manage to find him? Tsunami asked. No. I don't even have a clue where he could have gone, and how he managed to hide from me, Kakashi said. Kakashi-sensei, how does Naruto know Zabuza? And judging by the fact that he was laughing after their battle, and by his appearance it was clear that he was glad to see him, and that they had known each other for quite a long time? Sakura asked. Honestly, I have no idea. Hell, I don't have the slightest idea about Naruto at all. Everything that is written in his file is false. If I have an idea for both of you, then I don't have one at all, Kakashi replied. Meanwhile, Naruto woke up around 3 in the morning and gathered his equipment, not forgetting about the mask, headed for the exit. Are you behind Gato's head? Zabuza asked. Yes, the blonde man answered shortly and left the house. When he arrived at Gato's house, he was amazed at the size of the structure. Kurama, take control, you can have fun, said the blonde and gave control to the fox. After he was enveloped by an orange chakra, the pupil was replaced by a vertical one, and there were 3 tails behind him. I'm finally going to break up, said the fox and rushed to the side of the building. Screams of pain and terror could be heard all over the village. Standing up abruptly, Kakashi and the genin team hastily gathered, went outside and surrounded the house, but there was nothing. What is it? Sasuke didn't understand. Okuda, all these screams. Just like then, Sasuke already mentally added, suddenly something comes from somewhere and falls on Sakura's head. Sakura screamed, throwing off this object that it was a burnt hand. This finally finished off the genins, and they passed out. An hour later, the scream subsided, and 5 minutes later a demonic roar was heard, and after another 1 minute an explosion was heard. Kakashi went there, but when he came, he was horrified. It was a completely scorched area with mountains of charred corpses. Some were torn apart, some were decapitated, but all had burn marks. The smell of burnt flesh was in the air every now and then, the smell of death. Kakashi could not stand it and vomited. He managed to lower the mask. The next day the whole village celebrated, for Gato was dead. An unknown person killed him and destroyed his entire army. After sharing the loot and the reward for Gato's head with Zabuza and Haku, the blonde said goodbye and, wearing his mask, went to the team. When he had already started to approach the village, he stopped smiling and continued his way to the bridge-building house. Team 7 and the Tazuna family were just having breakfast when suddenly the door leading to the street opened and Naruto entered the room. So where were you all night? Kakashi asked menacingly. Naruto looked at Kakashi and said. You don't need to know that, Naruto said calmly and went on. Naruto, who is Sarah? Sakura asked. Naruto stopped to look at her. Sakura saw all the pain, loneliness and self-hatred in his eyes. She's the only girl who loved me, she was the only one who didn't consider me a monster, Naruto said sadly, and tears flowed from his eyes and he silently went to the exit to the pier, and more quietly, but everyone heard him anyway. The devil pulled me to offer to split up. Then, going out on the pier, he began to cry, releasing all the emotions accumulated during the time that he kept to himself. That's how Kakashi found him. They say when you share your emotions, it becomes easier, said Kakashi, sitting down next to him. Can you tell me about her, Kurama? Do you think it's worth trusting him? The blonde man asked mentally. He was your father's disciple. It's up to you to decide, the fox answered yawning. There was silence, during which the blonde was thinking about telling or not. Before I tell you, swear that you won't tell anyone about what you're about to find out, not even the Hokage. If you are really my father's disciple, then by telling you, you will shame the memory of him, Naruto said. So you know? Kakashi was surprised. Well, I'll take your secret to the grave. He's not lying, said the fox. Naruto silently reached for the mask and took it off under Kakashi's uncomprehending gaze. What Kakashi saw shocked him, namely the blonde man's face. A face was described earlier. Well, let's start, perhaps, Naruto said. Let's start with the fact that 5 years ago I left the list *memory*. In one of the many glades, a blonde guy was sparring with his clone, who was currently controlled by Kurama. It's been a year since he left the list. And this year he has made a lot of progress. He has made a lot of progress physically. He became smarter, more cunning and more agile. He studied the entire academic program in a month. He can safely be called a genius. At the moment, the weight of the weights was 250 kilograms. He studied all the basic techniques, except for illusory clones, significantly increased the control of his chakra and biju. Now he can easily enter the two-tailed cover. He recognized his elements. It was wind and water, and a weak fire, thanks to Kurama, but he did not use it. He studied about 5 defensive and 1 attacking techniques of the water element, about 12 attacking techniques of the wind element for which he had a talent. And here are a couple more inclines, and Kurama wrings the blonde's hands. Good, said the fox, you've become much better at navigating during the battle. Your attacks have become much stronger and faster, but you still make the same mistakes. When you see that you are starting to push the enemy, you relax and lose control of the situation, which I took advantage of. I understand you, Kurama. I'll try to fix it, Naruto said and sat down on the available tree to rest. Walking through the evening village, where he stopped to recuperate before going to the land of whirlpools, namely to the homeland of his clan, to search for scrolls on Fuin, for which he had a talent, and he found out after he found a book on Fuin in a bookstore in one of the villages. After reading it, he decided to try to create a storage seal. To the surprise of the blonde, he created it from the first time. The fox explained this by saying that he was Uzumaki and they were masters at it. Walking down the street, a girl of 8 years old, Naruto is 9, and looks like 10, with brown hair and black eyes, crashed into him. According to the state of her clothes and neatness, it was clear that she was without a blast furnace, which was chased by 2 healthy men. I got a small viper. Said the first, kid, give it here, please help. The crying girl asked. Naruto looked at the girl and something jumped in him. He recognized himself in her, so, looking at the goons, he said fuck you. The blonde man said and, taking out 2 kunai, taking them in a reverse grip, ran at them, at the same time creating a clone, whose control was instantly intercepted by the fox. This could be understood by the eyes that were red with a vertical pupil and stripes on the cheeks that became more visible. Naruto, you have goons on you, and I'll take the girl away, said the fox. I'm counting on you, Naruto said and struck at the opponent. The fight was long, during which Naruto dominated, but taking advantage of the fox's remark, he did not relax for a moment and watched the situation. And so 2 thugs decided to attack at the same time. But something happened that they did not expect. When one of the attackers raised his fist to attack, the blonde used a replacement and replaced himself with the second bully, from which the first, without having time to stop, struck a blow, sending him to a partner in a knockout. But Uzumaki did not let him come to his senses. Folding the seals, Uzumaki shouted the element of fire, a fireball. Pouring a good amount of chakra into the technique, the ball was quite hot. The opponent clumsily dodged, then he retreated with a hand burned to the bone. He howled in pain. Not letting him suffer, he shouted out without smoothing the seals, Futon, wind shuriken. Having imbued the usual shuriken with the wind chakra, from which he increased his powers, he launched it at the enemy, who could not dodge because of the pain, which killed him. The fight ended, and the blonde man went to his shelter. Approaching his shelter, namely a small abandoned house at the end of the village. He saw a girl sleeping on his futon and a fox hiding in the shade. Well done, well done. There was not a single mistake. You also came up with a good idea, making a replacement for his partner, thanks to which you knocked out one, as a result of which it was not difficult to deal with the second. The fox praised his actions. How is she? The guy asked, sitting down next to the futon. There were no serious injuries, only bruises and abrasions, but it was not difficult to deal with this. She's sleeping now, the fox replied. Do you think we should take her with us? The guy asked. I see someone fell in love, the fox sneered, but then seriously continued, the girl has been living alone for a long time, I think it's okay if you take her away. It won't happen. Naruto smiled and sat down on his bent legs and fell asleep. Naruto woke up at dawn and seeing that the girl was still sleeping, he quietly created a clone and sent him to buy clothes and food. What the clone quickly coped with, the girl woke up closer to 10 from the smell of food. When she opened her eyes, she did not understand where she was, but when she saw the blonde, she calmed down. Good morning, Sonia. The blonde smiled. There's a bowl over there. Wash up and go have breakfast. Having obediently fulfilled his requests, she sat down at the table and hesitantly reached for food, but when she saw a kind smile, she became emboldened and began to eat. Thank you, the girl said, but can I ask you something? You're welcome, if you're interested in something, ask, I'll answer. The blonde man smiled, sipping tea. Who are you? Why are you kind to me? The girl asked. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. About your second question, why should I be angry with you? When I was being chased, I asked for help, but no one ever helped. The girl cried, to which Naruto came up to her and hugged her. Do you know why? You look like me. Where I come from, they hate me too, but now calm down and tell me what your name is? Calmed down and asked the blonde. Sarah Kahaku, the girl introduced herself. Sarah, I have a suggestion. Tomorrow I'm going to leave this village and continue my journey. Would you like to come with me? The blonde man suggested. Can I? Asked the girl with a twinkle in her eyes. Of course. So let's finish eating and we'll go to training, and tomorrow morning we'll be on our way, the blonde man said and began to drink tea further. The end of a memory. That's how I met her, the blonde man said, giving Kakashi time to digest the information he received. Kakashi nodded, letting the blonde know that he could continue his story. Sarah was a pretty smart girl and easily amenable to learning. She ran after me everywhere. She learned everything I told her. In general, little by little she became my disciple. When we switched to elemental techniques, she had the element of fire, and it was the techniques of this element that she was pretty good at. After a year of our training in the village of whirlpools, she learned all the techniques of the element of fire that I had, so I could safely take her to the job that I took. After 6 months of successfully completed missions, we were nicknamed the duo of demons of fire and wind. We then wore masks on the floor of the face, like you have, Kakashi-san. And so one merchant was gathering a detachment to accompany him, and it was then that we met Zabuza, and it was on this mission that I received this scar. The blonde man began his story and pointed to a vertical scar running from the eyebrow and ending on the burned skin next to another. Memory. Oh, so this merchant also hired you a trifle, said Zabuza. Well, since we will work together, then let's get acquainted. My name is Zabuza Momochi, also known as the Demon of the Blood Mist. Next to me is Haku Yuki, known as the Lady of Ice. And what are your names? My name is Fox, also known as Wind Fox or Wind Demon. My companion's name is Viper, also known as Fire Viper or Fire Demon. The blonde introduced himself. Wow, so you are the same duo of fire and wind demons. I thought you were older, Haku commented. 4 Aro people accompanied a merchant's detachment from one of the numerous villages. These 4 were called Momochi Zabuza, also known as the Demon of the Blood Mist, Haku Yuki, P/A. I have a Haku girl, also known as the Lady of Ice, Sarah Kahaku, also known as the Fire Viper or the Demon of Fire in Uzumaki Naruto, also known as the Fox of the Wind or the Demon of the Wind. Half an hour later, they were attacked by a band of robbers consisting of 20 people. We divide in half, said a blonde man in a mask hiding the lower part of his face, and together with a girl with brown hair and black eyes in a mask covering the lower part of his face, he rushed to the squad. During the battle, one of the robbers inflicted a deep wound on Uzumaki's left eye. "Oh, shit!" Uzumaki shouted, holding the eye and letting the fox's chakra to stop the blood. "The viper needs fire." "Got it." The girl shouted and began a set of seals. In turn, the blonde man adjusted his own viper/fox, Kato, fire hurricane. Both shouted and a huge hurricane of fire, fueled by the wind, rushed at the enemies, from which they could not dodge. "How are you, Fox?" the brunette asked excitedly, looking at his left eye of the guy. "I will live," the guy answered, taking out a bandage and bandaging the left side. "Let's go, let's help Zabuza if he needs it," the girl replied jokingly. When they came to Zabuza, he was fighting with 5 of them. He was so engrossed in the battle that he did not notice the attack from behind. But the situation was saved by the fox and the viper, simultaneously attacking the robber. "Thank you," Zabuza thanked when the fight was over, and they went on. Along the way, they were attacked a couple more times, but they quickly dealt with them. Having delivered the customer safely and received the reward, they went in different directions. They then performed joint tasks more than once and became good friends. Everyone trusted each other. The end of a memory. That's how I met Zabuza and got full of my scar. Naruto finished the story, stopping to let Kakashi digest again. "Judging from your story, you fell in love with Sarah when you just saved her, am I right?" Summed up the first part of Kakashi's story. "Yes, and over time, the feelings got stronger, but I didn't even suspect that they were mutual, and when I confessed to her and received a positive response, I was beside myself with happiness," said the blonde, looking at his reflection in the water. "That's when I got these 2 scars. And that's when my spark of joy in my heart went out. The devil pulled me apart then. If I hadn't succumbed then, maybe she would have been alive." After taking a break to release emotions in the form of tears, Naruto gathered himself again and continued his story. "It's been almost 4 years since I left the list and 3 since I met Sarah," the blonde man began. "We were walking towards one of the points with tasks when we were attacked." Memory. Naruto and Sarah were walking in the direction of one of the points where tasks are issued. On the way, they were attacked. There were about 20 of them, and all as a selection in umbu masks. "Sarah, I will detain them, and you run as fast as you can to the village in the northeast. That's where our friends are. Tell them that we were attacked and need their help," Naruto quietly ordered and rushed at them, giving Sarah the opportunity to escape. A fight broke out. And now they have been fighting for about an hour. Half of the umbu was already gone. During the fight the blonde was hit by an explosion, from which his left cheek and eye were burned, and the fragment left a laceration on his cheek. When suddenly the umbu stopped, and then disappeared into Shunshin altogether. Naruto, having a premonition of something amiss, rushed with all his legs in the direction where he sent Sarah. At the same time, in order to get there faster, he removed the weights. When he ran there, he was horrified. His beloved was lying on the ground with a deep wound in the abdomen. Rushing to her, the blonde immediately began to treat her with the help of the healing half of the Biju chakra, but all to no avail. "No. Sarah, do you hear? You're not going to die. No, I won't let you." The blonde was crying, trying to do something to help her. "I'm sorry, Fox. You were a good partner and friend," spitting blood, said a girl of about 11 with black eyes and beautiful brown hair. She was wearing a t-shirt, in the stomach area, which was bleeding from a wound, black tight shinobi pants, black shinobi sandals. A broken umbu mask lay next to her. "No, no, no, Viper, please don't die. No, hold on now, I'll come up with anything, you just hold on. A 12-year-old guy with wheat yellow hair and a blue right eye was talking and fussing in tears, while the left eye was white and there was a vertical cut from the eyebrow to the cheek, and the cheek itself was decorated with a laceration and a severe burn. No Naru, there's no help for me, I've lost too much blood. So do my last request, live on. The brunette said and her eyes closed. Sarah. No. Sarah. No, no, no. Sarah. No. Don't die. Sarah. Nui. The blonde roared to the whole clearing, and he was enveloped in a veil of 8 tails. Kurama could not stop the blonde, but the 4th Hokage came to the rescue, stopping Naruto, and then calming him down, telling about how they died. A mental breakdown killed him, and he just fell to the ground, next to Sarah. His eyes were empty, there was nothing in them, but suddenly the blonde's eyes caught on the broken mask. Taking it, he read the inscription on the inside of the mask. There was a leaf symbol and just one word, coyote. The blonde man said aloud and, seeing the sign of the leaf, switched off. At that time a thunderstorm began, and since it was dark by the time he was unconscious and there was a rather sad atmosphere, when he came to himself, the blonde man got up and knelt next to Sarah, hugged her, and then lowered his body and swore, Sarah, I swear to Naruto Uzumaki that I will find him, and he will pay for what he did. Said the blonde. At that moment lightning struck, enveloping the clearing with light. The blonde man's eyes had a blood-red iris with a vertical pupil, and the wounded left cheek betrayed an even more sinister appearance. Naruto spent the whole night next to Sarah, and the next morning he sealed her body in a scroll, which he sealed in a seal on his left shoulder, which had the shape of a fox, but after sealing the scroll around the fox, a snake appeared that wraps it around him, and her head touches the fox's head. At this time the fox seems to cover her with his tail. The end of a memory, that's who she is. After a year of wandering, I returned to the leaf and buried her in the cemetery under the crown of 3 trees on the opposite side from the grave of Tsukumo Hitaki. The blonde finished his story, and at that moment a woman's cry rang out from around the corner. The blonde, instantly wearing a mask, rushed to that area with his claws raised, but stopped when he saw Sakura. Sakura. So you heard everything? Sakura nodded in tears. I hope you understand that no one should know about this. No one in the sense of no one at all. Do you understand? The blonde asked again, to which he received a nod. That's great, the blonde man said and went back to the pier, putting his claws in his pouch. After his revelation, Kakashi told his story. And after that Naruto became easier. Throughout the week during which Tazuna was finishing building the bridge, Kakashi trained Sakura and Sasuke to climb vertical surfaces with the help of the chakra. Upon completion of construction, the bridge was named the Great Bridge of Hope. Naruto was sitting under the shade of one of the trees located next to the grave of his student, girlfriend, and even his beloved girlfriend, Sarah Kahaku. He wasn't wearing a mask because he was holding it in his hand. His eyes were red because of another emotional breakdown. He broke the mirror again for the 5th time. After some time he lay down next to her grave and quietly, so that few people could hear, began to see it was already evening, and the blonde was still lying and crying, and at that time Sakura and Ino were passing by the cemetery and talking about something, when suddenly Ino saw a familiar yellow-haired top. Sakura, look there under the trees, this loser is lying, Ino said and headed in that direction. Naruto heard the footsteps, immediately put on a mask, but did not get up. Hey, loser, what the hell are you doing lying here, don't you have anything else to do? Ino began. Naruto just ignored her, continuing to lie down. Yes, you, I see you've lost your fear altogether, now we'll teach you a lesson. Ino flared up and raised her fist to strike, and when the blonde was about a centimeter away, Uzumaki intercepted her hand and squeezed it. Yamanaka, I see you were not taught that touching people in such a state as mine is not worth it, they can hurt you, Kurama said, because he knew that the guy was not reacting to anything right now, so she got out of here for good and well until I got angry. Fi, think about it, Ino snorted and headed for the exit. Sakura, are you coming? You go, I'll catch up, Sakura said. After Ino left, Naruto lay back down. Sakura, it's not Naruto who's talking now, but Kyuubi sealed in him, the fox began. Don't rush to be scared, just listen, Kyuubi. What do you want? Sakura asked with fear in her voice. After Sarah's death, our blonde had a nervous breakdown, which periodically repeats, now one of such cases. Can I ask you to help deliver his carcass to his house? The fox asked. Okay, I'll help, Sakura said and tried to lift the blonde's body, but he stubbornly refused to go somewhere or get up. Come on Naruto, get up, it's time to go home, Sakura said, to which Naruto mumbled. I don't have a house where they are waiting for you, I don't have such a place, the blonde man said, continuing to lie stubbornly in an empty, lifeless voice. Kakashi was just passing by the cemetery and saw this picture. Sakura is trying to get Naruto to get up, but he continues to lie and mumble something. Kakashi decided to go find out what was going on here. Naruto, get up, come on, you'll freeze and get sick, Sakura continued. So what? Naruto mumbled. What's going on here? Kakashi asked. Oh Kakashi-san, how are you? Have you come to visit Rin's grave or your father's? The blonde man greeted in a completely lifeless voice. Again? Kakashi asked Sakura, who finds the blonde in such a state for the fourth time. Yes, Sakura replied, honestly, I do not know what to do with him. Kyuubi contacted me and asked me to bring his carcass home, but he does not want to do anything at all, and all my persuasions are answered only by, I do not have a home. Home is a place where you are welcome and waiting, it's clear. Go Sakura, I'll take him home, said Jonan. Thank you, Sakura said and headed for the exit. You don't even have to try, you won't succeed anyway, the weight of the weights won't allow it, the blonde man replied lifelessly. You know, what you're doing isn't going to help you find information about the coyote, Kakashi said, minus coyote. The blonde man's eyes turned into animal. You're right Kakashi-san, all I'm doing is wasting time, it's time to start looking for this creature. After these words, Naruto got up and headed in a direction only known to him. Kakashi smiled and went in his own direction. Kurama, who heard the thoughts of the blonde, cursed Kakashi with a 5-story mat. Since the blonde went to look for information about this Umbu and not anywhere, but to the Umbu archive. Hiding his presence, he penetrated it and went unnoticed. After going through the shelves, he found a couple of wind techniques, which he immediately copied. After that he continued to wander until he found cases for each of the Umbu. After searching he found what he was looking for, a folder with the case of this Umbu. Opening it, he began to read, minus coyote is a member of the Umbu, the rank of elite Jonin, completed 12 missions of rank D, 135 of rank C, 150 of rank B, 159 of rank A. All this is not what I need a name. The blonde man swore in his thoughts, and continued flipping through the folder. He found what he was looking for. Kakashi Hataki.it hit the blonde. It turns out that the person he believed is a coyote. 3 days have passed, at one of Konoha's training grounds, minus Futon, Fury of the Beast. The blonde man shouted and a growl came from his mouth, accompanied by air waves that demolished everything in their path. Since he found information about the coyote, the pupil remained vertical. It was already the second destroyed landfill. The blonde kept training and training, occasionally stopping, for natural needs or to replenish the chakra. The blonde man started typing seals again, minus Futon, wave of destruction. A huge wave of scarlet air rushed from the blonde with great speed, destroying the landfill in a matter of seconds. After finishing his training, he went to one of the 2 places where he could be found, the cemetery. After visiting Sarah's grave, he went home, but something happened that he did not expect. he was surrounded by 20 umbu and instantly put a seal of chakra suppression on him, minus what the fuck. That's all the blonde managed to say before losing consciousness. Screams were heard all over the root base, which lasted for an hour, and now the last particle of the Kyubi chakra leaves the body of the blonde. After which he loses consciousness, minus Hokage-sama. Danzo-sama Kyubi was successfully extracted. One of the root umbu reported, "What do you want to do with the body of the blonde?" Minus nothing, throw him out for Konoha, ordered Hiruzen. The blonde woke up, looking around in an unknown place. He saw two girls with red and brown hair, minus Sarah. The blonde man was surprised. The brunette turned and saw the blonde, her eyes filled with tears, minus Naru. She ran at him and hung on his neck with acceleration. The blonde hugged her in response, minus Sarah, dear, I'm sorry, I didn't fulfill my promise. The blonde man hung his head sadly, minus it's not too early for you to come to us yet. The second one spoke, turning to him, minus excuse me, who are you? Naruto asked. This is your mom Naru, Sarah explained, minus mom. The blonde was amazed and hugged her too and cried, minus listen to Naru, it's too early for you to come here. You have to come to your senses now, you are on the verge of life and death, and it's up to you to decide which way you will go. Kushina said, minus you're right, mom, it's too early for me to die, I haven't done everything yet. Naruto said and began to disappear, I need to finish what I started. After these words, the blonde disappeared. The first thing the blonde felt when he woke up was pain all over his body. There was very little chakra. Overcoming the pain, he got up and dragged himself towards the gap in the barrier. Having overcome the wall, he entered the village and, overcoming the pain, trudged towards the house. When he got home, he closed the door and, not even 5 meters from the bed, lost consciousness. Right in the middle of the room, the blonde man came to himself. 3 days later, his body still ached, but not as much as at first. He got up and trudged to the bed. Having reached the goal, he got up and sat down in the lotus position and began to replenish the chakra, replenishing the chakra by 5%. His stock was 25%. Realizing that he would not achieve more, he trudged to the kitchen. Arriving there, he began to devour all the food that he had. Having eaten enough, he returned to the bedroom and looked into the available mirror. He looked like a squeezed lemon. After admiring himself, he lay down on the bed and fell asleep. When he woke up at 7 o'clock, he got up and began to meditate. After meditation, his chakra level was equal to 100% by Uzumaki standards. After applying the henge and wearing a raincoat, he left the house and went to wander around Konoha. Passing by the residence, he saw a lot of people gathered, minus attention. About a week ago, one of our shinobi died. His name is Uzumaki Naruto. Genin's body was not found. The Hokage was broadcasting, most likely he was kidnapped by the shinobi of an enemy village, after which he was killed. All that remained of Genin was his hati-ata and jacket. With a grunt, he headed to the cemetery, going to Sarah's grave. He changed the flowers, minus hello, Sarah, I'm sorry I didn't come for so long, but I couldn't. About a week ago, Kurama was extracted from me, although you already know everything, we met recently. Well, goodbye, I have to leave Konoha, the blonde man said and, folding the seals, he disappeared in a gust of wind. At this time, Kakashi went to the cemetery in a terrible mood. One of his students died, and the one who shared his pain. When he arrived at the cemetery, he saw a gust of wind near Sarah's grave, but, not paying attention to it, he lay down where the blonde was lying. Moving to his apartment, Naruto entered it and began to seal his things, and dropping the photo of his team began to wait for the night. Under the cover of the full moon, he left the leaf, heading in a direction only known to him. A week has passed. Based on Akatsuki, minus pain, there is information about the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed, said a plant man named Zetsu, minus report to Zetsu, ordered a man with orange hair, a lot of piercings and a rinnegan in his eyes, minus 2 weeks ago, his Biju was extracted from Jinchuria, which is amazing. Jinchuriki has been living and is now located near Amigakure. Minus it is clear that you are looking for information about the new Jinchuriki Kyubi, said Pain. The human plant was pulled underground. Minus what do you think, Madara? Pain asked. Minus I think it is necessary to invite him to the organization. In fact, he is a nuke nin, almost S-class. He alone can put about 20 elite jonins. He became famous as a wind fox and a wind demon. He also knew the pain of loss and betrayal. The man in the spiral mask replied. Minus well, I leave it to you, said Pain, and Madara disappeared into the funnel of Kamui. Naruto opened the door of his hotel room and headed to the bed. The forces spent on restoring the chakra had not yet recovered, so the blonde tried to get into trouble. Hello Naruto, the man said, appearing out of nowhere. Naruto reacted instantly and threw the kunai at a possible opponent. With his second hand he grabbed his claws, but when the kunai flew through the man without hurting him in any way, he asked, Minus who are you? And what do you want from me? The blonde man asked, ready to defend himself. Minus calm down, I came to talk. My name is Obito Uchiha, said the guy in the strange orange spiral mask. I was a student of your father. These words had an effect on the blonde, and he relaxed, but was still ready to defend himself. The same as Kakashi? The blonde man asked seriously and angrily. Minus just the opposite, the guy answered, taking off his mask. We have similar fates, we both lost people dear to us at the hands of the same person. Minus what are you talking about? Naruto asked, and Obito told him the story about Rin and her killing Kakashi. Minus your version is different from Kakashi's version, the blonde man pronounced the verdict, sitting opposite Obito. And after I found out that it was he who killed Sarah, I'm inclined to believe you. Okay, so what do you suggest? Minus oh, business talk has gone. Obito said, I suggest you join our organization. We are catching tailed ones in order to revive the 10-tailed one, after which I will become his Jinchuriki, and then with the help of the moon I will immerse the whole world in eternal Tsukuyomi where everyone will be happy, all the people dear to them will be alive. And Sarah too. Minus the plan is good, but you will not be able to hold the power of all the tailed ones, so I suggest you divide his power into 2 parts. Thus, you will share his power with the second, and when the time comes to fulfill the final stage of the plan, you will activate Tsukuyomi together with the Jinchuriki of the second half. The blonde man suggested. The mask was no longer on him. Minus it sounds tempting, and given the power of the 10-tailed, this is the case, but hardly anyone from Akatsuki wants to become his Jinchuriki, Obito replied, unless of course you don't want it. Minus the plan is tempting, all dear people will live, so I'm in business, but you yourself will understand that after extraction I'm weak, said Naruto. Minus great, but don't worry about the force, and now come with me and we'll give you full vision. Back, said Obito and moved them with the help of Kamui to his shelter, where he transplanted Naruto's Sharingan. Minus Naruto, I transplanted a Sharingan into both eye sockets for you, because only when there are both eyes, the full power of the Sharingan opens. I also transplanted the cells of the first Hokage to you, so that if Manjaku, a stronger version of Sharingan, awakens, you are not blind, as in principle, and a few Uchiha cells so that the Sharingan can deactivate and spend less chakra. Obito explained. Minus okay, when can I take off the blindfold? The guy asked. Minus in 3 to 4 days, Obito replied. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. With Pain, the head of our organization, call me Madara, I am also your partner, so we go on assignments together. In the organization I will be known as Toby. I also prepared a new mask for you, because, as you know, in the village you are considered a dead man. Minus I see, said Naruto, lying down to rest. Meanwhile, in Konoha, there were 2 people standing at Naruto's grave. It was Sakura and Hinata. One loved the blonde and his death hit her, the second was sorry for the guy because of his hard fate. Minus you know, I don't believe that Naruto-kun died, suddenly said a brunette with lavender-colored eyes. and most of the shinobi clan, too, I completely agree, Sakura replied. Naruto is not one of those who could die so easily, tell me, why was he buried next to a girl named Sarah? Hinata asked, after which Sakura told her about Sarah Kahaku, the blonde's first and only love, who else knows? Hinata asked, shocked, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura replied that we are transported back to the blonde. 4 days have passed, all Naruto can take off the bandages, said Obito. The blonde pulled off the bandages and opened his eyes. Obito's gaze was stuck with a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, excellent eyes have taken root, now try to deactivate it, for this just interrupt the flow of chakra into the eyes. Obito explained. Naruto carried out his decree and the Sharingan was replaced by black eyes, well done. And now try to activate, for this, on the contrary, you need to direct the chakra into your eyes, said the brunette. Naruto followed his instructions, but at the moment of giving the chakra, he remembered how he trained Sarah in chakra control, and after killing her with Kakashi's hands, because of which, after activating the Sharingan, Tomo spun furiously, transforming into a mangaku drawing. Well, I didn't expect that, Obito said. Is something wrong? The blonde man asked. Tell me what you were doing when you activated Sharingan, said Uchiha. At first I started to put the chakra in my eyes, and then I remembered how I also taught Sarah in chakra control, and then a moment came before my eyes when she was dying in my arms, and I couldn't do anything, said Naruto. Does it hurt you, like me, to remember your beloved? Obito asked. What do you think? Naruto asked a rhetorical question. I see. I think because of the pain that you involuntarily remembered, you woke up Manjika. Today you are resting, and from tomorrow, immediately after the presentation of you to pain, we will begin to master the eyes and other trainings. I laid out the Obito plan for him. I see, Naruto replied and, deactivating his eyes, went to the room provided to him. After getting acquainted with pain, Naruto and Obito went to the training ground where Obito began to teach Uzumaki, use his eyes. 3 years have passed. During this time Naruto has perfectly mastered Sharingan and learned the abilities of his mangaku is to copy the capabilities of other eyes, so in his arsenal there is a space-time technique of Obito, Kamui and Tsukuyomi Itachi, in which he can compete with the latter. In team number 7, meanwhile, there were changes in the form of a new member of the squad, Sora. The Chunin exam was also held, after which Sasuke escaped to Orochimaru. The latter killed Hiruzen at the final stage of the exam. Having lost the opportunity to use techniques, Tsunade became the new Hokage. Jiraiya managed to persuade her. *******. 2 girls passed by the cemetery. One had pink short-cropped hair, and the second was a blonde with long hair and bangs on one eye. Suddenly the owner of pink hair noticed a guy in a dark blue raincoat with a hood from which 2 brown bangs were visible, but the ends were blonde. Stopping, the girl began to look at him, and then headed in his direction. When he was about 25 meters away, the guy abruptly raised his head, noticing someone's gaze on him. A second later, a funnel appears in the guy's circle. The second, he is drawn into it. Third, there was only a girl left in the cemetery. Grave, the girl's eyes opened wide. This guy was standing near the grave of her teammate and his girlfriend. Meanwhile, at the Akatsuki base Sasori, Deidara, we have learned the location of the one-tailed raccoon Tanuki. The hologram of pain was broadcasting. It is located in the land of wind in a village hidden in the sands. Your task will be to catch it. Finally, there will be someone to demonstrate their art, said a tall blonde guy with bangs on his left eye and a crossed-out Stone Village blindfold. He was dressed, just like his partner, a low hunchbacked man. Sasori fans, excuse me, in another way I could not describe his puppet, in a black cloak with red clouds. Stock up on your clay, after all, our opponent is Jinchuriki, said the hunchback. Well, Sasori Dano, said the blonde, and went to the warehouse of his explosive clay. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Two strangers were walking towards the village hidden in the sand. They were dressed in straw hats with bells and black cloaks with red clouds. Approaching the village, they were met by a mountain of corpses and Yura, the old woman of the village of Peskov, minus do you remember who I am, Yura? A short, hunchbacked man asked minus of course Sasoridano, said Yura, sitting down on one knee as a sign of respect, minus Deidara go in search of Jinchuriki and remember, I don't like to wait, minus I remember Sasoridano, said Deidara, and having created a bird from clay, he went in search of a Jinchuriki of sand. The battle with the sandy Gara was canonical, it makes no sense to describe it. Next comes the canonical event before the meeting of Team 7 and Itachi, in place of Naruto, minus Kakashi's team. And the village elder are walking towards our base, said Zetsu, minus damn, we don't have enough time, and we didn't extract half of the tailed one. Kisame was indignant, minus Guy's team from the country of rivers is also coming to reinforce them. Zetsu continued, minus I'll take care of them, especially since I have old scores with Guy, said the shark man, minus okay Kisame, then I'll send my man to delay Kakashi's team, Pain said and turned his attention to Zetsu. Tell Kotaku, the loner, that it's time for him to show his loyalty to the organization, minus good, said Zetsu, minus Kotaku? The leader, and who is he? Itachi asked, minus a man who has known the pain of loss and betrayal, he is a member of our organization. So far, he does not perform tasks to catch the tailed ones, due to the absence of a partner, and no one knows about Madara. He is also not present at the extraction due to the absence of the ring. He carries out my orders, thereby benefiting the organization in another way, explained Pain. Next to the shelter, a guy in a black raincoat with red clouds and a short-sleeve satabito, his long hair, reaching to his shoulders, was dyed brown, and only the tips of the bangs on the sides were wheat-colored. A blue katana hung behind his back, on the handle of which was the inscription, Revenge. In one hand he held a porcelain mask with strange drawings, and in the other a book, as well as gloves on his hands. At the moment, he was reading a book that he was holding, namely, The Tale of the Beautiful Odakubo, P/A. This book exists, it was written in the 10th century by a Japanese writer. The author is unknown. Kotaku, Pain has a task for you, one of the Zetsu clones said, minus what kind of task? Flipping through the page, the former blonde asked, minus two teams from Konoha are heading towards the base where we are currently extracting Tanuki. Namely, Guy and Kakashi's team. Kisame took over Guy's team, Kakashi's team is on you, your task will be to distract your team as long as possible, minus how much time exactly do you need? The brunette asked, turning the page. Zetsu stopped, contacting another clone who was currently helping to extract Biju, minus about 3 or 4 hours, said Zetsu. The guy got up and, putting on his mask, put the book into print. Minus okay, tell Pain that I'm moving out, said the guy, and he began to be sucked into the funnel. Meanwhile, Kakashi, Sora, Sakura and Chio were running in the direction that Pakin showed them, minus everyone stop. Kakashi commanded when he saw a man in a mask and a black cloak with red clouds, minus Akatsuki. Sora growled angrily, since Kyuubi's chakra was sealed in him, he was made a full-fledged Jinchuriki by taking him from the Temple of Fire to Konoha, not only me, but also Gaara, yes. Kakashi was examining the guy and then his gaze fell on the guy's eyes, minus all attention. Don't look him in the eye. Kakashi commanded, shocked, minus I don't care. Futon, animal wave. Sora growled, minus Sora stop. Kakashi shouted, but it was too late. A wave from the chakra rushed towards the masochist, but the masochist did not even move. Everyone noticed what shocked them. Sora's technique hit the former blonde and flew through him, minus ahem, a familiar chakra, the masochist said, and looked into Sora's eyes. It's clear, so you're a new Jinchuriki, the leader will be pleased, the masochist said, and began to drag Sora into the world of Kamui. But he was not allowed to finish Kakashi, who attacked from underground. from which the masochist had to become intangible and interrupt the tightening, minus, but who is he? Sakura didn't understand, minus my name is Kotaku and that's all you need to know Shinobi Konoha. The blonde did not say the last words, but spat out, minus where did you get the Sharingan? After all, this is the Kekii Genkai of the Uchi clan, said the shocked Kakashi, minus says a man with a Sharingan in his left eye. And not native, see Hidnical Kotaku, minus futon, animal wave. Sora shouted, attacking the Akatsushnik again, but the attack passed through him again, minus is that all? I expected more Jinchuriki Kyubi, the brunette mocked, at which Sora got angry and sent a double animal wave, but they flew through him again. I'm bored, 9-tailed bearer, is that all you're capable of? Kotaku continued to mock. Sakura at this time remembered the words of her teammate during the Genin exam. Her eyes widened, minus and Naruto. Sakura said, almost crying, minus who? Asked the former blonde, pink-haired speak up, I can't hear you, minus Naruto Uzumaki. My former teammate said exactly these words during sparring with Sasuke Uchiha at the Genin exam. Sakura became hysterical and tears flowed from her eyes. Kotaku looked at her, minus according to my data, he died 3 years ago, did not understand Kotaku. He couldn't have died so easily. Sakura exclaimed, and I've seen you before, at the grave of Sarah Kahaku. Minus you're confusing me with someone, girl, the masochist said without emotion and Manjaku lit up in his eyes, after which he imposed Tsukuyomi on everyone, while everyone was in Genjutsu. Kotaku managed to reprint Kurama into another person, but so that Sora survived, so he only reprinted Biju, and not the previously sealed chakra. He reprinted it into some robber whom he caught, and then put a resistance seal with a load of 3 tons so that he would not kick, and after reprinting, he put another seal of chakra suppression. After that, he moved the new Jinchuriki to a copy of Kamui's world. 4 hours passed. Zetsu got out of the branch on which the blonde was sitting, minus the leader said that you have coped with your task, you can return, said Zetsu, minus great, said Kotaku and disappeared into Kamui's distortion. Then there are canonical events, except that Deidara died together with Sasori. Obito joined the organization under the name Tobi, who was fooling around, and Kotaku, Akatsuki captured the tailed ones one by one and sealed them in Getamazo. The ranks of the group were rapidly decreasing. First Sasori and Deidara died, then Haiden and Kakuzu. A little later Sasuke defeated Itachi and after brainwashing from Tobi joined the organization, and now Pain gathered for the 9-tailed killer beat killed Kisame minus Pain. There is a conversation, we'll meet in your tower, said the former blonde and disappeared into the whirlpool of Kamui. Later in Amagakura minus what did you want? Pain asked, minus we have almost collected all the tailed ones, so what is your goal? Kotaku asked, minus with their help, stop all wars, only after people know the pain of true peace will come, said the path of the virgin, minus you know, hate breeds hate, I read it in one of the books. Then Kotaku quotes the words from the book, The Legend of the Fearless Shinobi, he bought its only copy in one of the bookstores of the Land of Fire, for a very tidy sum, brainwashing Nagato, minus you know. I'll believe you, but how are you going to reach this world? Nagato asked himself, minus it's very simple that Madara wants to seal the 10-tailed into herself, initially only into herself. But then I changed his idea by offering to divide his power in half, but I changed my mind, I will seal the 10-tail into you and me, thereby using his regeneration we will restore your body, and then destroy Madara, as you plan. The death of one for the sake of the lives of millions, minus I'm with you, Nagato already said and smiled, and at that time the rain began to subside in the village, minus that's great, but he shouldn't know about it, so we play our roles in his plan, said Naruto, leaving for Kamui. By the way, I have already captured the 9-tailed one, and Madara is engaged in catching the 8-tailed one. Further canonical events, only without the participation of Naruto. The declaration of war is canonical. The army of White Zetsu mows down the Shinobi Alliance one by one, but they have found a way to resist them. And now 3 Nukanins enter the arena. One had scarlet hair and a Renengan in his eyes, the second wore a spiral mask, a Sharingan was burning in his only visible eye, and the third was wearing a mask with a strange pattern in his hand. He had a blue katana with the inscription, Revenge, and a Manjaku Sharingan was burning in his eyes. P/A. There is no army of the resurrected. Kabuto did not survive Orochimaru's cell transplant, and because of rejection, he died in terrible agony. A fight broke out in which both maskers lost their masks, and Naruto and Obito were hiding under them. This shocked Kakashi, Sakura and Hinata, and Naruto. "Are you alive?" Sakura and Hinata shouted in amazement. "Yes, I'm alive." The blonde man calmly said the seal that changed the color of his hair, which stood on the mask, was destroyed along with it, and it doesn't change anything. "Kakashi, it was you who killed Sarah." The fight continued for about an hour. During the battle, Nagato managed to seal the 8-tailed chakra in Geto Maso, as well as the remnants of the 9-tailed chakra. Jubi was reborn. "Get ready Naruto, now it will be necessary to seal it," said Obito. "I'll prepare the sealing technique for now, and you and Nagato cover it," the blonde replied, and began to prepare the sealing technique, and when the last seal remained, Naruto said, "Nagato, get ready." Fuinjutsu, sealing, after the name of the technique. Under the shocked gaze of Obito, Naruto and Nagato were enveloped in a black ball, and exactly a minute later, the ball cracked, and Naruto and Nagato flew out in the cover of Jubi, and both had Rinnegan burning in their eyes. "It's not according to plan," Obito said, "although it's even better." Before he could finish, he had to repel a joint attack by both Uzumaki, and all this under the puzzled gazes of the Shinobi Alliance. "What are you doing?" Obito asked, shocked. "What should have been done long ago. This is for your mother, for your father, and for all the troubles that you have brought," Naruto said along with Nagato, continuing to attack Obito. "What's going on here?" The shinobi did not understand. They seem to be on the same side, so why are they fighting? "We are not on the same side with him," Nagato and Naruto said at the same time, jumping away from Obito and landing next to the alliance. "We want to achieve peace like him, but unlike him in a different way," Nagato said. "The fact that he did not become a Jinchuriki Jubi is already going against his plans." "Nagato, are you ready?" "We use Chibaku Tensei at the same time," Naruto said, and put his palm on Nagato's palm. "Alliance, hold on as tight as possible," Naruto shouted, and let a rope from Jubi's chakra go to everyone. Naruto/Nagato, Chibaku Tensei. They shouted together, but the gravitational technique did not bring results. "Kakashi, you have the same eye ability and the same world with him, so listen carefully. Nagato and I will now create a Baijidama, one you have to suck into a Kamui with a chakra. I will help," the blonde said, and shared the chakra with Kakashi. "Ready?" After Naruto got the nod, he began to create a 10-tailed Baijidama, but one of them was sucked into Kamui. About 3 shoot Nagato, the blonde man said, and started counting. 1, 2, 3. Fire. A huge ball of Baijidama flew to Obito, but he became non-corporeal, but a surprise awaited him in the form of another Kamui in the world. There was an explosion that almost demolished the entire shinobi army. After his graduation, everyone noticed that Obito had died. Victory. Naruto shouted, and he was supported by the rumble of the alliance, but suddenly he feels that Nagato is trying to kill someone. Looking there, he notices that a black Zetsu wants to pierce him, which he does, but he did not have time to start calling Kagaya as he began to be sucked in. Zetsu creature. Kamui. After his phrase, Black Zetsu was sucked into another dimension, and Nagato's body began to fall with a hole in his chest, but Naruto caught him. "No. Not again." Naruto started pouring Jubi chakra into Nagato, but it didn't bring results. Naruto, don't waste your strength. if my half of the 10-tailed chakra didn't help, then yours certainly won't help. Nagato expectorated blood after the last sentence. Nagato's eyes closed. I'm sorry for Naruto, Kakashi said, but he saw that the blonde would have a nervous breakdown again. Continued. On the day Sarah died, I was on a mission as an umbu and saw some nuke nin in an Akatsuki cloak and a three-bladed scythe attack her, Haydn, said the blonde. I tried to help, but I arrived too late. He already thought he had killed her, but I didn't let him finish. Attacking him, in battle he broke my mask and almost killed me. At that moment I retreated, along with the rest of the squad. That's why you found half of my mask there. It's clear, Naruto said, p/a during Kakashi's story. Naruto looked through his memories of that day, and smiled and folded the seals. Well, since the war is over, it's time for me to leave. I've done my duty. What do you want to do? Kakashi wondered. What I have to. The blonde smiled and said, Geto Rain Tensei no Jutsu. Suddenly, everyone who died in this war began to come to life, all except the enemies. Kakashi, please, fulfill my request, save the world. After this phrase, Naruto fell unable to stand anymore. I have fulfilled my promise, Sarah. I'm coming to you. With these words, the blonde's heart stopped beating, and his tattoo lit up, and the clearing was enveloped in light. It was seen how a fox and a snake were dancing into the sky, flying away. After using the path, Geto Kurama managed to capture Jubi's consciousness, and by covering Naruto with a 20-story mat, and then again with a 40-story one, and after that he began to restore his vital energy, while continuing to fuck him. And when Naruto said his last sentence, Kurama imposed a genjutsu in the form of a fox and a snake on everyone and replaced the blonde's body with a clone of Zetsu, which he disguised as Naruto, and hid the blonde among the Zetsu, after which he returned to print. All countries have decided not to break the alliance and not to fight anymore. Grave of Naruto was buried in Konoha next to the grave of Sarah, in the same grave as before. Sasuke took revenge on Danzo and the elders for cutting the clan, but did not destroy Konoha, saying it was the memory of his brother, and when he found out about Naruto's life, he began to visit his grave. Kakashi became the 6th Hokage and proclaimed Uzumaki Naruto a hero who saved the whole world from destruction. Hinata started dating Kiba, and Sakura started dating Sasuke, then, for more atmosphere, turn on the song, Flow, Sign. You will find it on my VK page. The link will be in the comments to the part. 2 years have passed. 3 people were walking to the cemetery. It was Sakura, Hinata, and Sasuke. They were going to visit the grave of their teammate, a friend, and for someone, a named brother in misfortune. And so they enter the cemetery and see 3 people in cloaks with red clouds on their heads. They had hoods, and masks on their faces. According to the physique, it was clear that they were 2 guys and a girl. The girl had 2 strands of blue hair hanging from under her hood, one guy had yellow, and the second had scarlet, and both guys had a blue katana with the inscription, Peace, hanging over their shoulders. Suddenly, these 3 abruptly raise their heads and notice our trio, after which they abruptly take off from their seats. Our trio ran after them. They ran all over the village until they came running on the head of the 4th. Sasuke drew his katana, bracing himself for a possible attack. Identify yourself. Sasuke demanded. Shinobi in raincoats simultaneously take off the hood. The girl spoke first. My name is Konan. The girl introduced herself. I'm Nagato. The guy with scarlet hair and Rinnegan in his eyes introduced himself. Well, my name is. The guy reached for the mask, then took it off, and what the shinobi of the sheet saw shocked them. Behind the mask was the one they had buried for the 2nd time, namely a guy about 19 years old with 3 stripes on his cheeks. He had yellow, like wheat ears, unruly hair. His left cheek was decorated with a vertical scar and a stain from the cells of the 1st Hokage, and in his eyes was a Rinnegan with 6 volumes. Naruto Uzumaki, and under the shocked gaze of the shinobi leaf, Konan, smiling, hugs Naruto, and the three of them disappear into the dance of origami leaves. Minus Naruto. Uzumaki, under the roar of the wind, echoed throughout the neighborhood. The development of Naruto and Konan's relationship, ******* after the war, Konan came to the battlefield to take Nagato's body, but suddenly she notices a stirring next to the corpses of Zetsu. Going there, she noticed Naruto in a terrible state. After taking him away, she returned to Amigakure, where she began to take care of Naruto until he came to his senses. Opening his eyes, Naruto saw his savior, P/A. He had seen Konan before, but his head was then busy with a plan to stop Obito, and something jumped in his heart. A feeling he had long since forgotten. After recovering, he destroyed the Black Zetsu, and after that he did not leave Konan's side, helping her with everything, and she, in turn, saw Nagato's seriousness and Yahiko's cheerfulness in the blonde. Later, she noticed that she had fallen in love with him, and therefore as soon as he offered to date her, she agreed. What happened after a year and a half after that meeting? Naruto proposed to Konan. Her response was positive. And a year later, Konan gave birth to twins, a boy with bright wheat hair and azure blue eyes. He was an exact copy of his father. They gave him the name Yahiko, in honor of the man who wanted to bring peace to the world of shinobi, and a girl who was an exact copy of her mother, only with the character of her father. She was given the name Sarah, in honor of Naruto's first love. Nagato became the godfather of the children, and a year later he met the girl he started dating. That's how another story about Naruto Uzumaki ended. End. Tatsu was with you.